What's up, guys? I'm Roman.
And I'm Ian, and today we're reviewing The Banshees of Inisherin.
If you don't know, this is a movie that's nominated for Best Picture this year. It's directed by Martin McDonagh, and it's about two friends on an island off of Ireland, and kind of how their friendship breaks up and gets really crazy. So, what did you think about The Banshees of Inisherin?
You know, this is our we're in our big Oscar movie marathon here at the review crew. Just had a review of The Whale shot today, so we're kind of making our way through everything. And that being said, with all of its Oscar nominations, and me actually not hearing about it until like last week, I was expecting more of a movie. And I know we were both in the unpopular camp here that, I don't know.
Yeah, so to those watching, you're getting a little bit of an unpopular popular opinion review today, but this is where we stand on this movie. Now, overall, I liked it, and we'll talk about the strengths, but then we can kind of get into a bit of some of the things we thought, weren't our favorite, and then also maybe why we think people really did like it a lot more than us. Now, I'll start by saying strengths of this movie. Really unique writing. If you like dark comedy, you do want to check this one out because you're going to just get more dark comedy here than you're going to get in a lot of other movies coming out around now. And they really go dark with it. There's some really grim stuff that they'll get you to laugh at. Beautifully shot. I believe it's all on location. It looks fantastic. And just a very unique story. So if you're, kind of tired of all the blockbusters, all that wave, it's kind of a cliche thing to say, but, this is a good change of pace.
The grounded story really did keep me interested as someone who has been seeing a lot of not grounded stuff. Everything's big, everything's explosions now.
It is.
Now, but having this grounded story about just two normal guys just breaking up a friendship, it was kind of like touching to see a normal thing being taken into theaters. And
Yeah.
it's not something big. I'm glad this was a movie that was released in theaters. It's not like a lot of people have been speculating like a movie like this would instantly go straight to streaming because it's more relaxed. It's not like a go to the movie theaters to see it.
Yeah, and that's not to say nothing intense happens in this movie, because that would be an outright lie. We were saying it starts out normal, but kind of the plot of this movie is watching how it starts as kind of a petty disagreement between these guys, really escalates into something that gets pretty violent. Now, it definitely has an element of it, but what you said is absolutely true. This is not like I got to drop what I'm seeing and go watch this big event type movie. It's a little bit more niche in its appeal, and it's more of a kind of psychological drama in that sense. And we don't always see those get to theaters. So I was glad to see something of this nature make it there and be able to go see it myself.
And that being said, I don't even know what my main problem is with this movie. I don't have anything against it. We've been sitting here trying to think about what to talk about. I don't have anything against this movie. It's a very pretty, very well written, great acting, great everything. I just don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I can't really explain why.
Yeah, I've been having trouble kind of coming to that as well. But I'll say this. I think in the first third of the movie, the dark humor was really hitting for me. It was really funny, it was really grounded, there was a lot of stuff where it's like, I can't believe they're joking about this. By the second act of the movie, I was kind of a little bit more used to that, and the humor was still keeping up, but it was sort of shifting into a more serious narrative, and I was kind of gripped by that serious narrative, and I think by the third act, the direction felt a little bit indecisive because it really went off the rails, and for me that kind of detracted a little bit from how gripped I was to the narrative and how realistic it felt. It turned into something that was a little bit more like absolute utter madness, and it became such utter madness that it wasn't very funny anymore. Like a lot of those things that were like, oh my God, that's so messed up, I can't believe I'm laughing at this. The movie wasn't going for laughs anymore. It just wanted you to kind of be upset. And, I think there's a place for that, and I wouldn't change the plot of this movie, especially when you think about the political implications of some of what they were saying, contrasting it to what was going on in Ireland at the time. This is the late 1910s. But ultimately, it just felt a little bit tonally conflicted for me, and by the end of the movie, I was a bit confused.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is a bit of tone clashing in the movie, and but I do think the ending is very warranted. Like it builds itself up there in a good way, but yeah, it does just kind of go off the rails a bit towards the end, which I guess is it's kind of like a qualm that I have with it. But honestly, it's not even my big thing. I just can't really. It's just so bizarre. I've never had a movie like just like turn my opinion off for it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. For me at least, it's one of those movies where if you're someone who really appreciates like, well-made film, if that's the kind of person you consider yourself, and you can go and really appreciate what makes something technically great, I think you're gonna have a great time with this. And I'm doing the show, so obviously I'm that person to an extent. But at a certain point, I was like watching a lot of things. The writing is very technically impressive. The filming is very technically impressive. I'm very impressed by what they're doing, but it wasn't really moving me, I think, in the way that it was moving other people. That being said, I recognize that that's not the popular opinion for people who have gone to see this movie. A lot of people have more rave reviews about it, but this is just what I'm throwing out there. These are my reactions to it.
I think probably what our problem is I mean, this is probably mine, that the dark comedy stops you from really connecting with the characters. So trying to take what they're saying extremely seriously is hard to do when they're constantly like pulling gut punches at you, trying to make you laugh instead of trying to like make you really care about the characters. So to me it's like a character study about these two friends, but trying to make me care about their friendship is kind of hard to do when they're just like taking jabs at each other the whole time.
I would completely agree. I think that's a great point. A minor spoiler, I won't give anything away crazy, but one of the characters in trying to make a point to the other one starts to mutilate himself, and they make a lot of jokes out of this. They make a lot of humor out of it, but it makes it hard when they shift from him doing that being funny to him doing that being like sad and being the driving force of the drama, because I think it's just very conflicting because you've learned to treat the situation one way, and then when you start treating it another way, you're like, well, wait a minute, what about the beginning? How am I supposed to feel about that then? And maybe that was kind of the intention, right? Especially when you think about it contrasting to the idea of political violence. I sort of understand that, but it didn't work fully for me as a movie. I think it would have been better if it stayed more on brand with the tone that it had set up in the beginning, and stuck with either played heavily into the dark comedy or more into the serious drama.
Yeah, I completely agree. But we got our heavy-handed drama and our lighthearted comedy. Both of those things in mind, what would you rate the Banshees of Inisherin?
Yeah, by all means, this is a positive review. So I think I'm going to give it around a 7. In terms of my personal enjoyment, probably closer to a 6, but from the things I thought were impressive, we'll go with 7.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing you did. I would give this an 8 out of 10 as a movie, but my personal enjoyment, I'd probably give it about a 6. I think there's things stopping me from enjoying it, but I can't deny outright that it's a technically very well made film, and I think it deserves all the praise that it's getting. It just doesn't really do it for me.
Well, that's our unpopular opinions on Banshees of Inisherin. Thank you guys very much. Have a great one.